Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Wednesday, May 21st. We're talking wide receivers again. And I got a good question here from Justin Watson, a great ball knower in the comments a lot here on the YouTube channel, if you've seen him around. Justin says that this is a comment from Afternoon Drive the other day when we talked about the wide receiver room. Justin said he doesn't believe that this regime values the second wide receiver spots. He says, I absolutely 1,000% believe that they're perfectly okay playing a 33-year-old Robert Woods, 500 plus snaps. DK was always a Pickens replacement, and acquiring Brandon Ayuk would have meant GP would have been shipped out at the deadline. What will DK do when he immediately gets tired of being bracketed and doubled as much as Pickens was? Fair question. Yeah, I mean, I think it is a fair question as to what DK will do. I can tell you for sure the Steelers are not okay with playing Robert Woods 200 snaps, let alone 500 snaps. But the Steelers are also not in an emergency position. Like, they're not really going anywhere this year, as we've said. The difference between whether they have or do not have a wide receiver 2 of legitimate starting caliber is not going to make or break this season, because nothing is going to make this season. If they get an opportunity to make a good deal for a wide receiver, they will make it, especially if that's a wide receiver they might want beyond this season. Then they absolutely will make it. They're not going to make a bad deal because they are feeling pressure, and they are feeling pressure to improve the wide receiver position, because it doesn't make any sense, especially if it's not a player that's a long-term answer. And look, just the idea of there being a long-term, there's very few of those out there. But yeah, they're absolutely trying very hard to improve. It's why they called about Chris Olave. It's why they called Green Bay. I'm sure they've called every NFL team at this point to ask about their wide receivers. They're trying really hard. We should be skeptical that a deal is going to get done. They usually aren't. But they're absolutely not okay with what they have at wide receiver. They are okay with having less than they're okay with at multiple positions because they're not done building this team yet. And the most important piece is yet to come, which is quarterback. Like, I don't think they're okay with the cornerback position either. But here we are. Like, they're good enough. They think they'll get through the season. They'll be okay. It's not bad enough to be a catastrophe, to make a bad trade, it's not bad enough to make a bad move. So we'll see. I expect them to make an addition to wide receiver in some form or fashion, whether that's a late free agent signing, whether that's a major trade or a minor trade. I'm sure there will be more to the wide receiver room than you see right now. But I mean, yeah, so like the Steelers do not want their offense to have one good wide receiver. If you go back and look at when Arthur Smith's offense has been at the best, it was when he had A.J. Brown and Corey Davis in Tennessee. They absolutely have a need for and a priority for 2 quality wide receivers. And yeah, they wanted to get Ayuk because that would have been an eventual George Pickens replacement. And DK Metcalf was absolutely brought here as a George Pickens replacement. But that doesn't mean that they don't want another one. They absolutely do. And we'll see what they're able to get this offseason. I expect that is a more of a down the road priority. It would not surprise me greatly to see the Steelers wait until 27 to really address wide receiver. Although I talked with Chris Carter on the Locked On podcast earlier this week about ways they can do that next offseason through free agency. Certainly possible they can go down that road, but the Steelers definitely know they don't have enough at wide receiver and are trying really hard to find a way to solve that problem. Whether there's a solution out there, I don't know. We'll see. But the other question here, how is DK Metcalf going to react to what is coming his way in terms of coverage if we go into the season with a similar situation that we saw last year? It's very interesting. In all of DK Metcalf's time in the NFL, he's never been like that solo guy. He had a deep group of talent around him in Seattle most of the time. He split a lot of playing time with Tyler Lockett and then later on with Jaxon, Smith-Njigba. They had really good wide receiver groups 1 through 3. He's never really been in this situation where he's the top dog. And so I think there's going to be he was clearly the focus of coverage. You remember when the Steelers went there in 2023, sent Joey Porter Jr. right to him. Didn't go so well for Joey, but that's the way things go. He's been getting the top cover guy. He's been the top assignment, but he hasn't been the only guy. And I think part of him wants the extra attention. I think part of that's what made Pittsburgh attractive to him. We'll see how he does with it. I'll say this: he's a difficult guy to double team because he's really big and really strong, and he does make it hard. But I think you really need a quarterback with some higher level passing ability to be able to maximize what you're going to get from DK Metcalf in a year where he's the number one receiver. Like if you remember, Kenny Pickett would and this isn't really a shot at Kenny. This is just a young quarterback who's not done developing. Like when George Pickens would get double teamed, he would just never look to that side of the field. He's trying to simplify his reading process and say, where are the defenders? Where are my players? Okay, there's two on George. Forget that. Someone else is probably open. And that's like good, simple process. But also, like, George can get open against a double team. DK can get open against a double team. And the ability to know, like, the leverage of the route, the leverage of the cornerback at the snap, to know, like, what chance your guy has of being open, how long you should stay on him before moving off him, what kind of protection you can get from your offensive line on a regular basis to give you time to make those kind of decisions. It's also very up in the air. I don't think that having just DK Metcalf is like a death knell for the Steelers passing offense this year. He's very good. He's much more well-rounded player than George Pickens is in terms of his ability to do more than like just be a go ball guy. And I think a healthy Roman Wilson will help significantly if that is able to come to pass. And I think having, no matter who's a quarterback, I think they'll be able to get more out of Pat Freiermuth than they did with Russell Wilson at quarterback. So I think they're in a better place overall, no matter what. But yeah, they certainly feel the need to add to that wide receiver room, and I think they will in some way. I don't know if it'll be a solution, but it'll certainly be some kind of addition. And Robert Woods, at the very least, is a pretty good blocker, which will help the run game, even if he does nothing else to help the passing game. We'll see. We'll get a look at Robert Woods at OTAs next week. I'm interested to see what it looks like. I did not hear great things from people in Houston, but I trust my own eyes a lot more than other people's, so we shall see. That's all I got for this morning. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Be with the Afternoon Drive with Smitty here at the YouTube channel at 6 o'clock. Like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss an episode. Until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And enjoy.